Gundam.tk presents 1/100th Neo Gundam. Hey, what's up again everybody? It's Robert184, 2Rs2Bs, Gundam Reviews.net, and today I couldn't be happier to bring you this review of another manga lead Gundam. I'm talking about the Neo Gundam. This is a 1/100th very old kit all the way back from 1992 from the manga Silhouette Formula 91 in UC0123, which is the follow-up to the Silhouette Gundam as the second lead in the series. First released in 1992, it sold and sells for 1,700 yen. Lots of English all over the box, including the name bar, and you can see the name of the manga there inside that triangle. And there's its Japanese name, the Neo Gundam, and it's going to include in this box an MS handbook is going to be included along with the price. You can see that this is number 5 in the 1/100th non-grade series, as you can see with this yellow mark over there. Here's the whole lineup for the 1/100th line there, and you can see that these are all 9 grades. You've got 7 in the series with the good guys, including the Silhouette Gundam, which is the RX-99, the RX-99 Kai, to go along with this one, the Neo Gundam, the second lead, and they were all going to be followed up in another manga one-shot, which is the F93Y Cluster Gundam, which is one that's hard to get your hands on if you're trying to buy that manga. And if you're interested in the old school kits from the early 1990s, don't forget that you can check out 1990's Gundam F90 piloted by Def Stallion. This is its full equipped form, and the Burger-Gyros, also 9 grade. This is from the movie F91, which came out in 1991, before being followed up by this one in 92. Now this is a fun bit to add to my collection just because of the whole 2 lead Gundam things. You're going to have the pilot Tokyo Randall pilot the RX-F91 as a test pilot. Early on this is usually known as the Silhouette Gundam before he's going to end up in a whole bunch of trouble and have to steal the Neo Gundam before facing off with another Neo Gundam, so you could buy 2 of these and paint them. So you can call that the first and second lead of the manga, and they will make a fine addition if you enjoy collecting leads. For the box tour, you can see that the Neo Gundam here is going to have a primarily blue chest with a whole bunch of details all around it. It's going to have a very clear green shield there, which was the style with the F91, and then its big weapon is just going to hang down there in its right arm. I wonder how much posability you're going to get. But outside of that, you'll notice how colorful this is. This is painted by a pro and lined by one as well, but a lot of that work is going to be done by the plastic and the seals that you get inside. Here you're going to have some more information about the 1/100th Neo Gundam, some information about the back, or a picture of it anyway. You're going to see the core fighter is strapped on there. You can also see that nice beam generator there for the forearm with its 3 colors. And down below you're going to have what I wish all kits today also had, but you may have noticed up above that that kit looked fantastic, and all of a sudden it's looking pretty old school, 1992-ish. You are going to see that there's a lot of colors, a lot of seals, and the big weapon is all of a sudden looking very, very dull compared to that one that was painted up by a pro. To the other side, where you're going to get a better look at the core block system being recreated there, as the core fighter is going to plug into the back with the pilot, and you can see there how it's going to transform, and basically, yes, this gimmick has been recreated is what they're saying. Down here, the big weapon is the GBRD, and it's going to be able to combine with the core fighter and then fly off into battle. And then down below you can see that the camera eye and the beam saber and the beam shield are all going to be made out of clear parts, which is always a pleasant surprise. And down here we're going to have some more story information about the main character, Tokyo D. Randall, and how he graduated from the RX-F91 Silhouette into this RX-99 Neo Gundam thanks to his sticky fingers. And they're going to talk about how he got out of tight spots thanks to the G-Bird, which is that weapon GBRD, and how it's being recreated in 3D model form. To crack open this old box, you're going to be getting on the inside some old looking bags. I've got clear green parts here for the eyes, the beam sabers and the shield, a whole bunch of stickers, and then you're going to be getting that beautiful multicolored A plate with a whole bunch of colors in one part. Great to see. More seals tucked away under there. You're going to get white 2 plates of those, which will make up the majority of the body, to go along with gray polycaps and a gray plate here for the actual inner frame, if you want to call it that, or the old school joints. And this is the MS handbook that was advertised on the side of the box to go along with that old school manual. Now, taking a look at the plates, your eye is going to be drawn to this A plate immediately, if not to those clear green parts. And new fans may be saying, wow, look at that, you've got all these colors on one piece, and that was the style in the early 90s, which must have been some pretty impressive technology to people that previously were getting monocolor kits and having to paint them all up themselves. You can see that basically Bandai's just going to be putting in the white and the yellow and the red and the blue, and it's going to run all over the place into the parts. So you're going to have the blue parts here for the chest and a few parts there, it looks like, for the core fighter. The chest is going to have 3 colors, 2 parts there for the feet and for the waist section, and you're also going to have these great looking beam generators which are going to have red and yellow on them, And for the V-fin, you've got white in the middle with yellow on the side. So overall, a very impressive looking A-plate and something that I think you would have been really excited to crack open back in 1992. You may not be so impressed when you look at the back, but then again, who's going to be seeing this? These are for the forearms, and hopefully we don't end up seeing it. But you can see that the yellow is just poured in there. Some of these old school ones, they were just poured in very poorly. These ones are actually still in noticeable shapes. So kudos to Bandai for that. You can see for the waist section there that you've got the red parts there to go in the middle. And yes, even the goatee at the bottom of the face is going to be recreated in red. And over here you've got the all yellow on the back, but you're going to have white part on the front. Too bad that they weren't able to get the red in there. And you can see that the feet are just going to have the white on the outside and red on the inside. And here's a look at the chest where you're going to have the yellow and red poured inside. So overall, again, this is very impressive looking. Not so much from this side, but once you actually get to see the effect. But if the A-plate is impressive for its complexity, the rest are going to be slightly disappointing. These are all unique plates to the Neo Gundam. None of them are redone from the Silhouette or the Silhouette Kai. And you're going to have the parts for the legs, and you can see how simple these are going to be to put together. You've got some ankle guards and shoulders there to go along with 2 white beam sabers. The C-plate is going to have a few small parts, and these are mostly used for attaching the skirts onto the actual waist section. You can see some of the parts here for the G-Bird, which are going to be very disappointing that you're just going to have that in white and gray. You can also see some of the parts here for the core fighter and the skirts and the back of the head. For the D-plate, it's going to have a slightly gunmetal-ish feel to the color there. It's not just going to be a dull gray. And you can see that the manipulators are going to be made up. You've got solid thumbs on there, but you're going to have the 3-finger trigger finger split, which is sort of cool. You've got the handles down there for the gun, the big parts for the backpack, some thrusters all over the place in silver. But your eye is, of course, going to be drawn to these big parts for the G-Bird. They're just massive, and there's a whole bunch of details in there. So if you were a fan of going around with weapons, painting them up in black, dry brushing, or doing some color variations to that, I think you could make this really pop. But it's still pretty cool that they're going to give you such detailed parts. Just disappointing that there's only going to be the 2 colors in it when you actually put the weapon together. The E-plate is going to be almost as much fun as the A-plate because you're going to have a big, chunky green shield here. I wonder if you're going to get weight issues compared to the newer Master Grade ones, which are a lot thinner. You can see that the plate is BS2. You're going to have clear green eyes, which was a big deal at the time, and they do have the raised parts for the actual eyes. But you're not going to get seals to fix those up. Like usually with most Gundams today, they may give you raised eyes, but you also have the choice of a seal to put on. You're not going to get that here, so you may want to be using something like an old black Gundam marker, or just your lining marker, I suppose, and you can go and fix that up if you don't want to go and paint it with an airbrush like a pro. Here you're going to have the cockpit, which is cool for the core fighter, and you're going to get 2 green beam sabers there. Whereas the Silhouette Gundam just had white ones, here you're getting them in green, which is a big plus, and overall this E-plate is putting a good taste back in my mouth after the bad one from the B, C, and D. If you don't like seals though, you may not like these old school Silhouette Gundam type kits because you can just imagine, look how many there are on here, and all of them are being used on the package. If you want to recreate that look, you're going to have to put on most of these, or at least figure out how to paint and draw this on yourself. You're going to be having here some gray parts. You're also going to get these for the waist section. You can see these are going to go on. You've got this part for the V-fin. It's disappointing that you've got the camera lens in green and white with black around it, along with the red, so you're not going to get a red jewel like we've gotten very, very used to even with high-grade kits from today. And these ones are all going to be silver on the back if you actually flip this over. But over on here, you're going to have some clear stickers, and you can see that these are again custom for the Neo Gundam. You've got words written all over the place, including the Anaheim AFX up there, which is not going to stand out as much as the old F91 or the RX-99 from the Silhouette, but it's still cool that they give it to you. So if you want to go add a bunch of stickers, you certainly can go right ahead with this, but otherwise you're going to have a lot of painting to do to make up for it. This intro is going to run long thanks to the fact that there's still this MS Handbook coming up, so stay tuned for the next part, and I hope you've enjoyed this brief introduction, well, not so brief, but anyway, introduction to the Neo Gundam and the Silhouette Formula F91 manga that it came from. Anyway, everybody, Robert184 gundam.tk, why don't you let me know what you think of the video and the MS and the manga if you've read it. Did anybody play as the Neo Gundam in G Generations or things like that? I'd love to hear from you with a comment down below. Always appreciated, and see you next part, everybody. Thanks for watching. I wonder if that guy's seen The Matrix.